The best storytellers are not just good at telling stories. Even more importantly, they're good at collecting stories. Much like a photographer isn't just good at taking photos, they're good at spotting opportunities for photos. And great storytellers recognize a simple principle, that every story is about change. A story is never about life as normal. It's always about something changing. So a story doesn't sound like, this morning I woke up, went on the subway, got to work, blah blah blah. Instead, it sounds more like, this morning I woke up, got on the subway, but then the subway broke down. The moment there is a change, there is a story to tell. And this is the key to finding great stories to tell. Look for moments of change. Minor changes or major changes, any change is a storytelling opportunity. Maybe you just moved house, or you had a baby, or maybe your car broke down on the way to work, or maybe you overcooked your dinner. Wherever there is a change, there is a story to tell. Once we've got good at noticing the moments of change in our life, we can then start to find lots of stories to tell. So then, once we found a story to tell, how exactly do we tell it? Well, here is another simple principle. A story is a sequence of meaningful moments. Pay close attention to the next movie you'll watch, and you'll notice that every moment is meaningful. There are no random or insignificant details. Every moment is meaningful. And when we have a number of meaningful moments presented in a sequence, we then have a story. So what sequence of meaningful moments should we follow exactly? Well, when I was writing my book, The Story Habit, this was exactly the question I was looking to answer in as short and practical a way as possible. My entire career has been in a corporate environment, working with people who expect communication to be fast, concise, and to the point. They don't have time for you to turn your next monthly report into some fantasy story about a hero. So I set about finding answers to this question. I did a lot of reading and experimenting, and whenever I got an idea, I'd write it down and then I'd try it out in my next workshop. Some ideas fell flat, whereas others stuck. And then one day, I looked at all of the ideas that I had that had stuck so far and thought of how best to arrange them. And from out of nowhere, the idea relate, challenge, resolve came to my mind. And I thought I'd try it out at the next workshop. And I did. And I discovered that people got it instantly. And ever since then, I found that people continue to just get it. And I've also found a number of other applications as well. So here's how relate, challenge, resolve works. Every story is about a character in a situation the audience can relate to. That character then meets a challenge. And finally, they then try to resolve that challenge. In the relate part, our goal is to immerse the audience in the story by presenting details they are familiar with and a character they can empathize with. In the challenge part, our goal is to create an emotional reaction in the audience by presenting them with a challenge that they don't know how to solve. And then in the resolve part, our goal is to help the audience learn how to resolve that challenge. By using this framework, we can easily build out stories by simply looking for meaningful moments that first help the audience relate to that story, and then help the audience feel the pain of the challenge, and finally, help the audience learn how to resolve that challenge. Look at any story and you'll see this basic sequence in action. One example I've found most people have seen is The Lion King. And it starts by presenting Simba, a young lion prince who one day will be king. Now, okay, we're not lions, but we can relate to Simba because he's a child with dreams of the future and parents and other older people who keep telling him what to do. And these are all things we can relate to. And as we start to empathize with Simba and feel the excitement of his dreams of becoming king, suddenly his father is killed and his dreams are in ruin. And now we feel the pain of the challenge that Simba's been thrown into. And then at the end of the story, he discovers it was his mean uncle who killed his father in order to take the throne. So Simba decides to return to his kingdom and fight his uncle for the throne. finally, we learn how Simba resolves the challenge. This, in essence, is how stories work. Look for moments of change, and then present moments about the change that the audience can relate to in order to immerse them in the story. Next, present moments that show the challenge that change caused, so the audience can feel the pain of that challenge. And finally, present moments that show how the challenge was resolved, so the audience can learn something from that story. If you'd like to learn more, then you can check out my free storytelling guide and storytelling template, or you could check out my book or my online course, all of which you can find links for in the description below. I hope you found that video helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.